Abandon hope of plot progression, all ye who enter here. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman ZX Advent. In the last one we took care of the quarry stage and got ourselves our good old Model ZX. And now, I hope you're ready for about 20 minutes of absolutely nothing but side quests. Now that we've cleared into the final set of 3 pseudoroid stages, we can now access most of the game's side quests, frankly. A lot of them open up right now and are most doable right now. For instance, we just gave the pickaxe to Kid to access this area. I had no idea there was such a big room down here. Did you find the legendary pickaxe? No, that's a surprise. Name's Romeo. It's a pleasure. I'm sorry to bother you all of a sudden, but could you do me a favor? I ordered a shelf to go in this room, but it still hasn't come yet. I can't get in touch with the shop. There may be some trouble with the network. If you're headed towards Legion, could you check on that order for me? I'll give you the money for it. So, a lot of the side quests that we're doing this part involve trekking to Legion back and forth several times in some cases. For instance, like Romeo saying, we need to head over towards where the main shops are near the entrance of Legion. And that is a trek. I am taking advantage of basically every jump cut that I'm aware I can throughout this. But just know that the previous part, this part, and the next part were all originally one recording session. I think it was close to an hour-and-a-half long, including backtracking. It's rough. With that said, we just need to enter here to progress with the side quest we just started.
Hello, may I help you? Now it's a mission request, isn't it? Oh, I get it. You're here for the shelves. There'll be 1,000 energy crystals. I tried to call you, but it looks like there was some network trouble. I'm really sorry that you had to come all out this way. I'll deliver the shelves myself in a little while.
So now we can just head back to Romeo, and the shelves will be there. I swear side quests like this are the only reason they ended up putting Rudy in this exact room over here, just so you had a quick way to get back to Hunter's Camp. So good on them for doing that. I just wish they maybe made the side quests require a little less backtracking for things like that, because we are doing it a lot. And thus, we have a shelf, just like the one over in the bar. Oh, it's you. Look, new shelves have arrived. Thank you. Please take this. I've got the plans to make this room really nice. I may ask you for another favor sometime. So, this shelf is sort of an empty slate that you fill by doing various other side quests. For instance, now we can enter some of the rooms around here and access some new side quests. It seems that the remains of a rare ancient mechanaloid were found in the oil fields. With all the reporters and press everywhere, it's practically impossible to get into that area. Besides, I can't go out there. Everyone knows the oil fields are just too dangerous. If I could only pinpoint the location the mechanaloid remains, I could have some guys go in. Can I get you to go and put this microtransmitter at the site of the mechanaloid remains? This was one of my favorite side quests when I first played the game because it hit me with the yo kind of moment. It's one of the first times I actively remember being hit with an Easter egg. Also, that's the 300 energy crystals we got for doing the quarry. So we need to transport all the way back to the oil fields. This is why I've been selectively activating certain warp points throughout the game. Although, getting a little ahead of ourselves here, I personally recommend that you activate the warp point at the end of every level before the boss fight. But if you haven't done that yet, you can just start doing that now while doing some side quests. Because if you're going for true 100%, it'll save you some effort later on. This door right here leads to a room that's empty for Gray. And I think it's always empty for Gray because I believe this plays a role in the side quest I mentioned before that is Ash exclusive where you look for some of her friends during this phase of the game's plot. Now, the mechanaloid we're looking for in the oil field is just at the very end of oil field 1, and it looks a little familiar, don't it? For those who don't recognize it, this is the Utaboris. This was a mini-boss that you fought twice, once required at least, in Launch Octopus's stage in the original Mega Man X, meaning that this is all that remains of Launch Octopus's ocean stage. Climate change. Don't let it happen, is the point here. But now that we've gotten that transmitter there, we can head back to her and turn in the quest. Thank you. My guys just got back with the mechanaloid remains. The analysis results indicate that this mechanaloid is very, very old. Most likely those oil fields are all that's left of a dried up ancient sea. Oh, by the way, the hunters brought back this. I don't have any use for it, so I'll give it to you. After that, we get the Frog Chip. This, like in the Mega Man Zero games, slows down your wall cling speed, so now we'll go down walls a lot slower. A lot of people complain about Inti Create's level design. I think it's entirely because I'm used to using items like this to just always cling onto the wall and not jumping into pits blindly, where I might accidentally fall into some spikes. I wonder what happened. The hunters that took off toward the control center aren't back yet. Oh, you're just in time. The hunters that went to pick up the chandelier aren't back yet. I'm worried that something might have happened. Would you mind looking for them? I'll make sure you're well compensated. So now we have a mission to go look for some hunters over in the control center, which was the Queen Bee stage. I think, if memory serves, they're in Control Center 2? Before we go there... what a predicament. What am I going to do? Never mind, I was just talking to myself. It's none of your concern. If you really want to hear about it, I'll tell you. Well, you know how there was a miniature flying surveillance camera on Hunter's Camp that looks like a bird? Well, the other day, while performing a sweep over the control center area, the minicam picked up something abnormal and took off towards an area of smoke. Of course, I would go out there and retrieve it by myself, but I'd have to hurry back home and take care of something. I don't have to go right this moment, but since you're here, I thought I'd let you have the honor, you know? The minicam even acts just like a little bird, so I'll give you this cage. So that's now 2 missions we can do over in the control center, and we'll be taking care of those both in one trip. The biggest advice I can give you for looking for some of the side quests in Advent is just anytime you beat a boss, go through every room and see if any NPCs have updated. Since I was a little kid, I've wanted a model train set. I haven't stopped looking for one even to this day. I've looked just about everywhere, but they're really hard to find. Say, could you look for one for me? Alright, sounds good to me. I wonder if somebody in Hunter's Camp might have one. I remember Ray, the comic hunter, saying he doesn't have one. Alright. Now, I believe this line of dialogue for Ray here isn't important to the side quest, but I believe it's another Mega Man and Bass Challenger for the future reference. I think it's referencing, it's not Aircon Man, it's the, I forget which one it is. You say I want a model train? I have one of those, but I know if you give me some pudding, I'll make a trade with you. So now we have to find some pudding. Cool. You might be wondering where we find pudding. Well, we're back here towards the very room we've been doing stuff with for Romeo, to come over here and check out this fridge. Check out this funny looking food in here. I don't think anyone will mind if I help myself to it. There's the pudding. That's not all we can find in here. There's a cake in here as well. This is another, I think, one-use health restorative. I think you can only get that one once too, whereas the E-Tanks from, I forget his name there, in the cafe, you can get infinitely as long as you have the energy crystals for it. So we have a deal. You'll bring me some pudding? Goody goody. Pudding! It's pudding! 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 Thank you. Here's your model train. So now we can give that back to Jark. I just love pudding. And now she has one. I hear they put shelves in the big new room. I want to fill them with comic books. Would you go and pick me up some comic books? This quest is interesting, and that's one of the few in the game that has multiple endpoints. In that we need to go to the comic book store back at Legion headquarters, but when we get there, there's going to be 3 different options, and her dialogue response, which shelf gets filled with comic books, as well as I think your reward slightly varies. Oh, you found the model train? Come on, show me, show me! Yep, this is exactly what I've been looking for. Just looking at it takes me back to my childhood. Thank you. This is for your trouble. I think I'll have it set up in the shelf in that big room. Doing all these side quests can be a little tedious all at once, but it's admittedly worth it for the energy crystals, especially if you're going to do what I'm going to do by the end of the game. You're going to need those warp points by the end of every level. I do wish there was more you could spend energy crystals on, though, because by the end of the game, once you've done everything, the only thing you can spend them on is an energy tank for an extra sub-tank, essentially, that's one use, and the sub-tank filler here in this area. So here are the 3 comics we can get. I believe they increase in price the further you go down the list, to the point where I believe the best one costs 200 more than she gives you, so you might have to take this side quest at a loss, but I figure I might as well anyway. And I believe if you check the comic book's description, at least the orange one, I believe there's another Mega Man and Bass Challenger for the future reference in there. One of the 3 comic books is another reference. I know that for a fact. Honestly, the most tedious part about a lot of this is having to just teleport back and forth between some areas. Again, I feel this could be made faster if warp points could teleport you to specific area warp points within either the same area or within a certain amount of areas. Like, say if it worked like the spheres in Mario Party where you could teleport yourself within like 10 dots distance-wise. Oh, I've been waiting to get my hands on this one. Because look what's written on the back cover. It says, very interesting. Well, I'll take this for your trouble. I want to see you put it to good use. And for doing that, we get the ice boots. This prevents you from slipping and sliding on any icy terrain. I should note, I think that only shows up in one level moving forward, so little late to get it. But now I want to head in here and talk to this guy. Aren't you the model white chosen one? Oh, my bad, I forgot to introduce myself. They call me John. I never thought I'd meet a Megaman in a podunk camp like this. It must be my lucky day. Well, I hadn't been too lucky till you showed up. I just come into this room when the doors decided to stop working. I've been trapped in here ever since. I don't know what would have happened if you didn't come along. People always saying I don't look like no hunter, but I can get busy with the best of them. Yo, check it out. I found this lost technology out in the ruins. It's called an absorber or something. It's like some kind of chip. Go ahead and equip it. It's still usable. I hate to part with it, you know what I'm saying. But for you, I'll make a deal. Hold on. Let me see. It cost me 35 to get to the energy scrapyard. Lunch cost about 26 energy crystals, 18 for shipping, then 21 to have it fixed. Altogether, that's like 100 energy crystals. I'm trying to get 100 for it. But I'll let you have it for 99 energy crystals. How about it? I knew you'd like that deal. Next player. This is the best deal in the game. The absorber chip reduces the amount of knockback to 0 when you get hit. So any potential deaths you could have by getting knocked back from enemy hits, completely wiped out. And it feels so good. With that said, we're now back in the command center to take care of the 2 side quests we have here. We're looking for some lost hunters, and we're also looking for Pierre's bird. But while I'm here, I might as well show off what happens if you enter the elevator. It's just an elevator. It's slower than just using Rose Spark to climb the wire. Technically more dangerous, but also less dangerous, because the weird thing about these fire containers is that they pace them in such a way that if you're just going up with Rose Spark, the fire can usually keep enough pace with you, but if you go up in the elevator, they'll only keep pace with you up to a certain point, I find. Despite them, I think the fire shooters are supposed to only activate within a certain distance of them entering the screen. The only other benefit is that it technically ends sooner. In the literal level design, it ends at a lower point than getting the life up was with Rose Spark when we were here parts ago. Because there was a second door you could have entered, but we don't have to worry about that here, so who cares? This is a case where I probably should have unlocked a few more warp points as I went, but I'm a little bit paranoid when it comes to using energy crystals in ZX Advent. And it mostly just comes down to the fact of the energy crystal amounts you get in other games is a lot more strict with what you need to use them for. Like in Zeroes 1 through 4, you're constantly using them either to forge stuff or usually just to level up Cyber Elves, even if you don't use them to keep your S rank and get your EX skills in 2 and 3. In the original ZX, you're using them a lot, especially on the first playthrough, to get your biometal energy bars up through the level system at the lab. In this game, it feels like there's almost not enough to use them on. Like, there's no real money sink in the game outside of, I guess, some of the side quests. And because of that, you can really easily build them up. Like, the closest thing to an energy sink there is outside of some side quests is just activating every warp point. Are you here to help us? Oh, Romeo sent you, huh? Thanks, one of our guys got hit. He's resting. Looks like he took out all the Mavericks in the area, so we should be okay getting back. Tell Romeo that we're on our way with the chandelier. Man, they're really just stealing a chandelier from this old-ass, decrepit Serpent Incorporated, huh? Oh, well, hey, works for me. Now, as for finding the tiny bird friend we're looking for in this stage, we need to continue up this very screen. Because you may have seen when we were first here that there was these boxes up here. You could open these as soon as you got here, but it's hard to get into this door without having Aeolus, or Queen Bee herself. And in here is another door that leads to our bird friend but here's where you definitely need Aeolus, because you need him in order to clear the smoke using his charge shots. And there's our little bird friend there on the bottom right. 2 charge shots is enough to open up the area. You set the bird cage by walking in front of it, and once the bird is in there, you can just walk back over in front of it to collect it. And now those 2 side quests are ready to be turned in. I do admittedly like, in one regard, that even though they make you backtrack all over the place for these levels in some cases, you at least get to do a very simple task once you actually reach the area. What? You found the minicam? Man, you are an ace hunter. I could tell when we first met. Let me return the favor. Keep the cage. You can use it to decorate your room or something. And that now goes in the room with all the shelves. Cool. In fact, let's go check back in on our shelf room to see how it's doing. The thing I don't like about the shelf room, though, the bottom 2 rows of shelves are taken up entirely by 2 things. Oh, it's you. Thanks for helping out those hunters. Here's what I promised you. When I was putting up the chandelier in the room, that girl in there yelled at me. Ugh. Cool. Yeah, the shelf, the bottom row is taken up by the Utaboris. The model train from Megaman 02 takes up the 2nd stage. Hello, nice to meet you, I think. Have we met before? Anyway, my name's Amy. I'm new at this camp. I don't quite remember anyone's face yet. This room is a little green. Do you think you could go and find a plant or something to go in here? You know, I think there were some potted plants up at Legion. If they were left there, they would just die anyway. And I'll give you something for your trouble. Not a bad deal, huh? The thing I don't like about the shelf, though, the top row will always have 2 shelves empty because the comic books that we got earlier, they have completely different sprites in the amount of books within them. So they have different shelves for each color of comic book. And you can only get 1 per playthrough, and you can't get extra on New Game Plus. You're just constantly just filling it up over and over again. It just doesn't feel good. I don't know why I came in here. Oh well. Oh, hi there. I almost always forget this particular NPC as a side quest, and I don't know why, because you always cross in front of her. Oh no, what should I do? When I opened my little bird's cage to feed her, she flew away. I would go to look for her myself, but I have to stay here. Could you look for my bird for me, please? She's a cute little white bird. Her name's Nightingale. Sure thing. Thankfully, Nightingale is very close. I remember when I was first playing the game, I was looking for her all over the place. She's just where we got the absorber chip earlier is. In fact, they even place a bird cage, which I think is meant to be the same one we did in the earlier side quest. You just go into Queen Bee, place it on top of Nightingale, and then you need to hop out of the cage and then walk in front of it to collect it. Little clunky with the collection angle there, because I would figure the moment that you put the cage over the bird, it should be counted as collected, but oh well. So now let's go talk to her again. Thank you. I guess I should buy a better cage. And now I believe Nightingale is put in the collection room just to live out the rest of her days. So now for a bit of the weird one. The plant. There are 5 plants located throughout the early half of Legion 1 that you can interact with. One is the weird enemy plant that I think technically showed up as early as 01. It was definitely at least in 02. Another is just a random, I think, like bamboo plant. There's a cactus. Which one of these you choose does not matter. You can raise them all the same, because this is where that bucket item I bought on our first trip to visit comes into play. You can water the plants, and the cactus that I go with, which is the very last one that you can find, it's the only one also not in this very room, eventually gains a flower. I don't think the flower changes anything. I don't think it gets you an item. It doesn't change dialogue from my memory. It's just there to be a nice little detail, I guess, which is something that Inti Creates sometimes likes to do, but not really, and sometimes that feature is removed from the game in the case of Gunvolt 1 in the US. It's a little weird. But I'm doing every side quest you can do as Gray in this LP, so here we are. Let's go pick our good old friend, the cactus. Look at it, it's just so funky looking. just interact with it by pressing up, and you can pick it up, and now we just need to take it all the way back to her. All right, Amy, here's your cactus. Thank you for bringing the plant. Let's put it over there. It's not exactly what I was expecting, but I guess it's better than nothing. Anyway, thanks. Here's your compensation. Now that I think about it, you might need to talk to the nurse character again to have the bird put in here. I honestly forget how you get that to happen, if it is even a thing at all, and I'm just, frankly, having false memories. And since I have some water in the bucket from walking in water, we've watered the plant. Yay. But with that, I'm going to need to end this massive side quests off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 14, if memory serves, part numbering's a little loose for me at the moment. We go back to doing actual stages. See you guys then.